It's time to do predictions for the New Year's Day set of fixtures. I think that makes it match day, game week, week number 25 by my math, but never take that for granted. But yes, let's do those predictions with January nearly upon us, 2025 nearly upon us. It's that time of the year where we all start making our Christmas lists for what our team needs to strengthen in that January transfer window. Rather than doing, well, you could do predictions as well, but as well as doing predictions, let me know what your team needs in this January window. But things won't change for me in 2025. I'll still be giving you crazy and bonkers predictions for virtually every round of fixtures. I do miss the odd one here or there, and I still will be abiding by that all-important golden rule. What is the golden rule, I hear you ask? Well, it's quite simple. It's that Oxford always win. And after 2 wins on the spin, that graphic has never been more meaningful.
Smug mode.
Hey look, wins have been hard to come by this season for me, so when we get 2 on the bounce, I have every right to feel a little bit smug for once. But we will see if Oxford can do it on the road. But before we jump into predictions, please hit like on this video, and if you do like the content, consider subscribing.
Do it.
Okay, let's start those New Year's Day predictions. And we start at Home Park for a bit of a country bumpkin derby. Not really a derby, is it? But I just wanted to put the term country bumpkin in there. Between Plymouth Argyle and Bristol City. Let's start with the home side. My goodness, what a mess. What a terrible, terrible mess you find yourself in, Plymouth fans. And I've just seen you guys play and lose to Oxford United, and I can tell you, you should be pretty worried. I know you've got players out, but things are not going well under Wayne Rooney, and if he's still in the job by the time you watch this video, they may have pulled the plug on him today. I would be amazed if he is able to turn it around, but let me know. Maybe you still have faith in old Wazza. But Plymouth are so poor on the road, it puts such pressure on this home form, and if that starts to take a turn, then my goodness, where do you go? And I really think this is going to be a difficult game for Plymouth. So it's not a happy camp. I think Bristol City are going to go there off the back of a fine victory that they had on Sunday, and they're going to be fully expecting to get a victory here today. They'll know if they can get an early goal and get up in this game, the crowd will turn quite quickly and things could get pretty nasty. And I am going to be back in the Robins, unfortunately, Pilgrims fans, to get the victory in this one. And not least because I need my relegation rivals to lose. But I am going to be backing Bristol City. It's going to be Plymouth Argyle 1, Bristol City 2. QPR versus Watford is next up, and I fancy the Super Hoops in this one. They've been pretty steady, pretty consistent for quite a while now under Cifuentes. They've really turned the season around. Watford, you never know what you're going to get from Watford, but usually they are better at home than they are away. And they really let me down on Sunday, losing to Cardiff. That is poor form, Watford. Oxford don't need Cardiff picking up victories, so you let me down on that one, boys. So I'm backing against the Hornets here. I think it's going to be a nice victory for the R's in this one. I'm going to go for Queen's Park Rangers 3, Watford 1. Millwall versus Oxford United. Undoubtedly the biggest game of New Year's Day. I'm sure you will all agree. What a Christmas it's been for my beloved Yellows. Back-to-back victories in big relegation 6-pointers as well, has given us a new lease of life and some breathing space down the bottom of the table. But whilst things have been good at home and Gary Rowett has had a good first 2 home wins in charge of Oxford United, life away from home has been anything but good so far this season. In fact, it's been pretty atrocious, and we've only picked up 2 draws in all the away games we've played. Simply, the away form has to change. If Gary Rowett can do that, Oxford's chances of survival improve immeasurably. But regardless, this is still going to be a tough game. You know it's Gary Rowett, ex-Millwall manager, going back into the Lions' Den, pun intended. But it is a Millwall side that who are a little bit different from what we saw when they came to the Kassam at the start of December. They were very, very well organised, tough side to beat under Neil Harris, and Oxford were very lucky to get a draw on that occasion. But under caretaker manager David Livermore, things have just tailed off slightly. I know they got a draw in their last outing. Maybe Alex Neil will be appointed. He's the heavy favourite by the time New Year's Day rolls around. Let me know what you think about that, Lions fans. But a be-all and end-all on this one. I am off the back of those 2 victories, and now we've got Rowett in charge, and things do look like the players have had a bit of a kick up the backside. I am more confident going into this one than maybe I would have been a few weeks ago. And of course, I have a golden rule that I have to abide by. So of course, I'm going to be backing an Oxford victory. First away win of the season, boys. Start of a fantastic 2025. Millwall 1, Oxford United 2.
Oh, he's a madman! A madman!
Burnley versus Stoke City, and when I first looked at this one, I had Burnley down for a big home win. But after I saw the games yesterday, I've kind of changed my mind on that one. I am going to still be back in the Clarets, but the margin of victory is going to be much smaller. They still are so hard to break down. They had a fantastic win on Boxing Day against Sheffield United. That is almost like the holy grail of victories this season, so well done on that one, Burnley. But you couldn't back it up, and you had that kind of stalemate against Middlesbrough at the Riverside. But you will be expecting to beat this Stoke side, but maybe Stoke have found the magic formula for success this season. They themselves had a very impressive 1-0 win against Sunderland, with the old cannon firing right at the end of the game to secure a precious 3 points. But maybe that's the way it goes. Caretaker manager becomes does well, becomes the manager, results tail off, he gets fired, you go with a new caretaker manager. Ryan Shawcross, caretaker manager, maybe he'll do well for a bit, results will taper off, and then you'll get a new caretaker manager. And maybe that's going to be Stoke's recipe to get them into that lower mid-table that they usually love to sit in. But long story short, I'm going to be back in Burnley in this one. I just think they'll find a way to win. There won't be much in the game, and I'm going to go for Burnley 1, Stoke City 0. Cardiff City versus Coventry City. Well, what a Christmas for the Bluebirds. What an up and down Christmas. You were dead and buried when Oxford beat you on Boxing Day, but you bounced back with a fantastic victory over Watford away from home. Not many of you would have thought you would have got that win, but there you go. Callum Robinson, why was he on the bench against Oxford? I will never know. He starts the game. Well, he scored in that game as well. Starts the game against Watford, scores 2 goals, gets you the all-important win. And I think the Bluebirds will have their tails up, and they'll be able to beat this Frank Lampard's Coventry side, who I really can't get my head around at the moment. They've been just as inconsistent with Lampard as they have been under Mark Robbins. So I still don't really know what to expect, and I still think you're going to get so many up and down performances, and I think this is going to be one of those ones where Cardiff are going to be so motivated to get that win, home crowd roaring them on, and I think they're going to get the job done. As much as I don't want to see it, because I need to keep those sides below Oxford United, I do think the Bluebirds are going to get a victory in this one. I'm going for Cardiff City 2, Coventry City 1. Leeds United versus Blackburn Rovers. Although this will be a tough one for Leeds United, Fortress Elland Road, how can you possibly back against the Whites? And I certainly won't be doing that, especially after they've come off the back of 2 back-to-back away wins over this Christmas period. What a goal by Aronson yesterday in that victory over Derby. And Blackburn have found themselves on my naughty step after losing to Hull at home. That is poor form, Blackburn. That has not helped my beloved Oxford out at all. So you are down for defeat for no other reason than letting me down yesterday. So I'm going to be back in Leeds, although I do think this one will be quite tight. I'm going to go for Leeds 2, Blackburn 1. Luton Town versus Norwich City. Luton continue to be quite a baffling side, certainly on predictions. Not that Norwich are that much better either, but Luton just, especially for their fans, they must be so frustrated. They don't seem to be able to get any momentum into their season. They win a tight game against Derby, then they go and lose a tight game against Swansea. So you just don't really know what you're going to expect. I would say that at Kenilworth Road, things are certainly much better than they are away from home. And the same can be said for the Canaries, who also don't seem to be very good on their travels. So, don't know what to pick in this one. I think I'm just going to go split the difference and go down the middle, and both sides end up with a point. I'm going to go for Luton 1, Norwich 1. Portsmouth versus Swansea City. Pompey, what is happening, guys? What is happening? I thought you'd turned a massive corner, and I thought you were going to start heading up the league, and then you started putting in some pretty poor performances. I know you had that unlucky defeat against Watford at last-minute goal, but then you got absolutely battered by Bristol City yesterday, and then you put back in the mire of what is going to happen in this Portsmouth season. Again, it's just another side just can't seem to get much momentum and sustain it for very long. But Portsmouth, what they do normally do is they do find a way of bouncing back. So I wouldn't be shocked at all if Portsmouth do find a victory in this game. But I am just going to be backing the Swans. You know that I seem to stupidly back Swansea in every single game that they play. And I'm going to do that again here. Not least because I could do with Pompey losing another game. And so yeah, let's go for a Swans victory. It was a good game between these two last time out. So let's say Swansea edge it. Portsmouth 1, Swansea 2. Sheffield Wednesday versus Derby County.
Come on, Wednesday!
So Wednesday came back to earth, crashing down to earth with an almighty thud yesterday. They've been pulling great escapes out of everywhere over the past few weeks, and that 3-3 draw, how they were 3-0 down against Middlesbrough and came back to draw that game, a fantastic comeback, but well and truly thumped yesterday for the Owls. So they'll be looking to get back to winning ways. They'll be expecting to do so over this Derby side, but life at Hillsborough isn't always plain sailing, and I think this poor worn side, they've shown they've got quite a lot of backbone in recent weeks, quite a lot of character, and they certainly go up to Hillsborough and make it tough for Sheffield Wednesday. Quite unlucky in the end to lose to Leeds, that late wonder goal by Aronson that kind of sliced them open at the end. But I think Derby are good enough to get a point in this one, and I'm going to go for Sheffield Wednesday 1, Derby County 1. West Bromwich Albion versus Preston North End. Well, the Baggies are still searching for a new manager, but they've still got a lot of life in them and a lot of hope for this season. A good 1-1 draw against Sheffield United yesterday, coming up against the Preston side who had a fine win themselves at home against the Owls. Both these sides, quite frankly, love a draw, and I can see this one being a draw. The Draw Fawns, as it's been unaffectionately known by the Baggies fans, it just seems to be a place where draws just occur on a regular occasion. And Preston, when they go away from home, are very, very hard to beat. So I can just see this one ended up all square. I'm going to go for another 1-1 draw. Hull City versus Middlesbrough. Well, there certainly is life in this Hull side under Ruben Sellers. A fantastic away win over Blackburn, and they're certainly starting to think that that is their season. Turn that corner, and they can start looking up the table as they try to get away from that relegation side. They need a few more wins and a few more points before they start breathing easier, and Middlesbrough are never going to be an easy side to play against. So much attacking flair and talent in this Middlesbrough side, and I think this one could end up being a really good game because for all Middlesbrough's attacking flair, they do give you a chance up the other end, and I do think this whole side, I still remain that they are a lot better than where they find themselves in the table, and I would be surprised if they are down there come the end of the season. So I think this one's going to be a good game, an entertaining game. I thought that last time out for Middlesbrough as well, and it ended up being 0-0. So that just tells you, take this with a huge grain of salt. But I'm going to go for another Desmond here. I'm going to go for Hull City 2, Middlesbrough 2. And we end with a massive, massive game at the Stadium of Light between Sunderland and Sheffield United. Last time out between these two sides, it ended with somehow Sheffield United getting a 1-0 victory. I think it was Tom Cantwell getting his first goal for the club. 2 red cards in that game, a missed penalty for Sunderland. How the heck did Sunderland do it? But that's been a story of Sunderland's season where they've just thrown away points, like what they did yesterday against Stoke. Should have got something out of that game, end up with absolutely nothing. Whereas Sheffield United, whilst they're maybe not been at their best, Wish Wilder says they're very stretched at the moment. A lot of people out injured, a lot of people out ill, but they're still finding a way to pick up points like what they did against West Brom. And he was very happy with the performance, not necessarily the result. But I fancy the Black Cats in this one. Hooray, the lads. Come on, you Mackhams. Let's get back on the winning road here. And I just think there's going to be a raucous atmosphere at the Stadium of Light, and I think they're going to propel Sunderland to victory over a Sheffield United side that's still missing a few bodies, and it's going to be a huge win for the Black Cats. Sunderland 2, Sheffield United 1. All right, everybody, that will do for me for this round of fixtures for New Year's Day. Once again, let me not only give me your predictions, but let me know what your side needs in this January window in order to strengthen, or who you need to kick out of the club to clear up a wage bill. Let me know down below, and as always, hit like on this video and hit subscribe, and I'll be back very soon for more Oxford United reviews and more predictions in 2025. Happy New Year to you all. See you soon.
My work is done here.
What do you mean your work is done? You didn't do anything.
Didn't I?